I'm really stoked to see such engagement and enthusiasm for International Women's Day. It's a really important celebration, and even though the world has come a long way over the last decades, we still have miles to go. And in order to push our boundaries and mature our thinking, you need people that take the lead and push us out of our comfort zones and challenge our habits and ways of thinking. These people who engage in this will help future generations grow up in a better world. And for that, I'm grateful. So to everyone that engages, takes the leads, challenges status quo, and invest their time and efforts into moving us all forward, a big special thank you to you on this special day.
Well, you see, girls' self-esteem, ambition, and expectations are the first victims of gender stereotypes. Eradicating cliches and their associated behavior should begin in school. How? Well, by helping them see the variety of professions that exist without imposing any kind of limitations on them. Also, a simple step is watching our language. Our words send messages about our expectations based on gender. When we comment on how pretty girls look or how strong boys are, we send messages about our expectations based on their gender. So make a conscious decision to use gender-neutral words like they, or say he or she when talking about people in the abstract. Say firefighter instead of fireman. Say police officer instead of policeman. And be on the lookout for statements that start with all girls or all boys.
So much has changed in my career, certainly since I started out. When I look at how it was then versus how it is today and how we've broken down that gender balance. But we still have a real long way to go. I encourage each and every one of you, challenge that status quo on a daily basis. You will make a difference. Those of you that lead and challenge week in, week out, I personally thank you.
I believe that breaking barriers should start as early as possible. Educating children and adults should start at home, at kindergarten, at school, and university, or even take a step back, take a look at the baby shower. Pink or blue? Girl or boy? Do we really care? Does it matter? I believe a healthy child is what should matter, don't you? Who cares who brings the money home? Who cares who does the laundry or cooking? Do what makes you happy. I am a woman, and as a child, what do you think my hobbies were? Let me tell you, I did ballet, I did judo, and I played tennis. So what? You do you. Do what makes you happy.
First step towards improving the situation is, of course, being aware of these cognitive biases that we all have that lead to gender discrimination, to figure out how we can mitigate for every single one of them, ideally. As far as proper actions that we can do, there's a lot of them really, but I would like to focus on the interview and selection process of new Xenetans, as this is really a way of bringing more women into the workforce and therefore potentially further help to reduce the gender biases. It is proven that interview processes based on past achievement, based on tests, tend to eliminate a lot of cognitive biases. They therefore also tend to reduce unconscious discrimination of women, and I guess as a bonus, let us hire better candidates.
First of all, by recognizing that gender bias exists and on top of educating people on a daily basis, I also think it's extremely important to encourage women to pursue whatever they want in their careers. And I only mention that because I am extremely grateful to my parents and many other good teachers and friends who have always supported me to become whatever I want.
I feel the only way to move forward is to be aware of our own thoughts and check our actions that might originate due to a biased perspective that we usually experience around us. I recently came across a viral TikTok trend where men submitting most videos take their camera towards their female partner, as the audio basically goes like this: "What's the most expensive thing that doesn't work in your kitchen?" This is the best example of unconscious bias in the current day and age, as in the name of fun and humor, women are still considered as objects that belong in the kitchen. People think that no harm is done, but we tend to go 2 steps back in time instead of moving forward when we ignore how we address women around us. That is why I believe it's important to be conscious of our actions and our thought process.
The fact that history has been ignoring women, smart women, for so long, and therefore when we are in school and doing these history lessons, almost never or hardly ever we see women as the main character of a successful invention or discovery, which also unconsciously affects us in believing that men are the ones that should be focusing on getting all the success. So I think it's time for us to include all these women that have been in the shadows for all these years and show to everybody that they were just being ignored, but they were also very capable of doing great things.
First, raise awareness. This can be done through social media or public events such as International Women's Day. Second, find solutions to minimize or eliminate gender bias. This can be done through those conversations in social media and those public events. Third, have countries or regions ratify codes of conduct. Whatever solutions you find in those conversations, I think those should be brought to your local government, and they can help you define codes of conduct that can be implemented locally and even bring it to a regional or national level, perhaps international as well.
The important step for me to stand against inequality is understanding the self-worth for a woman. Because just having a very nice body or maybe a fair skin does not make you beautiful. It is when you feel beautiful from inside. That is what makes you confident. When they have the proper education, that they are equal to men, that is when the world is going to be a better place. Feminism is not about being better than men. It is giving the understanding that girls are as equal as men. They can do things what a man can do. It's about equality, which can only come when they have confidence in them.
In my opinion, similar to other social constructions, change starts from smaller parts of society and our close community. If each of us stands up for a wrongdoing they see of how they handle a situation, then it can expand to a micro-scale level. So starting by ourselves, our families, our workplace, our apartment building, how do we educate our children by breaking some of the gender biases? To do so, we need to first educate ourselves, discover our internal biases, how were those created, and how we can minimize them in favor of a better and equal future for everyone.
I'm a big supporter to educate our children about gender neutrality as well as being impartial towards race, religion, and nationalities. We must raise a generation that sees the opportunities in each individual human being and not assume their potential weaknesses and flaws. We have a lot of challenges ahead of us. It would be great to see people working together rather than fighting.